Ooh, in a shop. Don't mind if I do. I mean, we could buy some curare darts. They're relatively cheap, all things considered. In fact, let's actually do so before I head off from the stairwell. But the reason why we head off from the stairwell is I also realized that a bit ago I was meaning to start IDing through all of our equipment here, so let's definitely do so now before we inevitably forget once more. But we'll try, I think, just 3 potions. I was hoping to find heal wounds, but that's fine. Nothing too drastic there, and then we can get a few scrolls as well. Scrolls of teleportation could definitely be a lifesaver, so always happy to see that. And we will also throw on these boots right away, get 1 more armor class point in the books. But a hornet is a big problem. Paralysis from that son of a gun definitely could do us in. I guess one option here is that we could turn into a tree. Is Yoshi a frog? The age-old question. I'm pretty sure the answer is no though, right? Isn't Yoshi a Yoshi? Isn't Yoshi not the species name? Which, you know, why this one Yoshi also is named Yoshi? A little bit odd, but maybe their parents had a sense of humor. I wouldn't be surprised that there are probably quite a few people that are called human, so I guess it is just an interesting choice at the end of the day, to say the least. I think I will turn into a tree though. It gives us poison resistance again, as well as a little bit more armor class, so that should be enough to take care of our new buddies here, at least for the time being. Holy moly. And then a bit of a welcoming party, so we'll take our slow movement speed and bring the majority of you back this direction to hopefully make things a little more manageable. Like some dude just being named Manny, right? Or is it even worse than that, where it's like you would have to be called Homo sapien? I don't know, is Yoshi the official species name, or just the kind of colloquialism version? Don't know enough about the taxonomy of the Mario world to have a real answer to that question, but it's an important question to ask for sure. Very, very critical that we get to the bottom of said taxonomy. Oh, I've already used my hop ability. Oh no, I've made a terrible error in judgment. Well, chances are I'm about to take a spike club directly to the dome. So that's not great. I mean, never mind. Throwing net here to save the day. At least for the moment. Oops, and I didn't actually mean to throw another one, but I guess it'll work out in the end here, as it does allow us to finish off our two-headed friend. And should also swap away from the See Invisible ring to something a little more useful, specifically this dexterity ring that we were previously garnishing our fingers with. And that will hopefully do the trick for now, as we immediately again start taking a little more damage than I would like, but not the end of the world. We'll also Divine Shield just to bring our defenses up to a bit more of an acceptable level. Did we kill the troll? Okay, we must have missed the frog with an arrow to take out the troll behind. Very confused for a moment there, but that is actually perfect. Very happy to see it. And yeah, I was a bit concerned that that would happen. Surprised at how well the first encounter with the Komodo dragon went. This is a bit more the expected result, but we can paralyze you, get some stabs in. In fact, we'll let you succumb to the poison there. And jeez Louise, never a dull moment here. Keep fighting for our very life. There we go. Hop comes off cooldown, so we'll use that to... I mean, I was definitely hoping for a little bit more ground than that, but I guess it was enough. So we do manage to at least make it out in one piece, which is all we can really ask for. Yoshi's like gorilla, probably, where the official taxonomy is gorilla. Oh, maybe. Yeah, you know, I didn't think of the Volcano's Dos approach. Could indeed be both here. I know, we'll have to ask all the foremost Mario scientists. I mean, my guess is that Mario was probably a scientist at some point, right? I mean, if they can become a doctor at the drop of a hat, at the doctor title, then I'm pretty sure Mario can do anything. It's very much like Barbie Rules, where they are incredibly skilled folks and able to do basically any job that comes their way. Ooh, as we also get access to an orc bow. Again, as long as I don't die in the interim period here. Also, as I forget how to speak, as is so often the case here. 50% chance of paralyzing you, though, is wonderful. Swap over to our dagger once more, and that should do the trick. But I will pick up this orc bow. Let's take a look at this. Our skill training is currently taking us to the correct level to use this properly, so I think we'll just swap over, and it has slightly better base damage than the original short bow, so that's awesome. And we can give this one a try on for size. Ooh, so we pick up a manual of ranged weapons as well. To what do I owe the pleasure? Very, very fortunate turn of events. And fantastic. That just about does it for the floor here as well. Frau James. I think a mage would be good with Uskaya. Might try it soon. I mean, definitely wouldn't be my standard approach, just because I'm not sure what the PD proc rate is like for spellcasting. I guess if it works, and you do gain PD even for dealing spell damage, then it would probably be really good, because AoE spells would get you into max PD in record time. I don't know, I think my personal issue with it is just my bias, because I personally love to use like stabbing dagger characters with Uskaya. It's like the only deity that really allows a stabber to succeed in later stages of the game. In fact, it's the only deity that I've ever had a stabber character make it through 15 runes before, just because with the grand finale you actually have some like anti-panlord built in, plus the paralysis stacks definitely help with taking care of monsters even after the point where their armor class kind of outweighs the effectiveness of a low base damage dagger. But if anyone else in the audience has more experience with this guy on a mage character, and if that is at all a feasible option, definitely let us know. Probably pretty fast because lots of damage, but like, check the wiki. Exactly, as long as it works, as long as the PD gain procs properly on spellcasting, then I'm sure the PD gain rate would be absurd just with the sheer damage output of caster characters. So it sounds cool at the very least. But this guy does bait you to dive into the fight though. So yeah, maybe that's a little bit on the side of not being the best for a squishy spellcaster. Though hey, how squishy your spellcaster is can also be open for interpretation, because at the end of the day, you can always go with a bit more of a hybrid approach and see how that treats you. Oh wow, even able to kill the Demonologist. Shining One happy with that as well, so that's fantastic. Ring of Strength, not going to worry about too much for the moment here. In fact, let's just get right back to it. I believe, okay, yes, our invisible orc wizard friend was still around. Good to confirm. And there's D10. So we did find our lair entrance, but have not yet found orc. Oh man. Pardon me for a moment. Definitely coming down with a bit of a headache here, which is why we're going to be aiming for this to be a slightly shorter evening here. And yeah, I guess we'll keep going for now. We probably do want to head into Orc fairly early on, just hoping that we find an Arbalist, because that will be another nice upgrade above the Orc bow that we're currently using here. Hey Domo, how's it going? Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing, my friend? Hope your stream went well. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend, wonderful long weekend, if it is one for you. Hello raiders as well. My name's Torinski, and you're watching DCSS Sunday. Now we're currently going in with a ranger frog here, seeing how we fare as we make our way through the dungeon. As a follower of the Shining One as well. For anyone a bit more on the familiar side with DCSS at the very least. If not, I don't know if any of that really made sense whatsoever. But the main thing to take away, or I guess the main takeaway from all of that, is that we are playing a cool frog character and we're trying our very best to stay alive, keep ourselves in one piece and make it through. Ooh, and that Cyclops is not the best indicator for such a plan. I mean, fortunately, they decide not to throw too many large rocks at us, and I'm still dealing with some of the trauma from our last character dying to thrown rocks, so very glad that we didn't see a return of those events here today. And let's just stack up the poison on our beetle friend here. They are weak to poison, so it fortunately does a decent number on them. Definitely gets us through the fight. Oh, looks like we might not have to go to the Orc Halls, because we got an Arbalist on delivery here. Not too shabby. Again, providing I can stay alive. That is always the caveat, the little asterisk that you have to put on the end of any sentence I say, is that we do have to stay alive. Would I choose Longbow or Arbalist in general? So if we're talking base of both weapons, I think I personally kind of like the Arbalist. I like the heavy punch damage to try and kill things in one hit, just so you give them no opportunity to return fire or do anything untowards back your direction. There are definitely some characters that I feel like you might want the faster attack speed with, especially, you know, if you're with someone like Okawaru as your god and you have the ability to increase your attack speed, then it becomes a game of thresholds, where you have to kind of experiment around with both the Arbalist and the Longbow to see how many kind of per turn shots you're getting. But I think personally I tend towards Arbalist, though part of that could just be because Arbalists are much more common, and it's pretty rare that I find myself with a Longbow. So who knows? Maybe I'll leave it for the fates to decide, and we'll see if we come across the decision here. On this character, we might have to figure out a little bit of something about ourselves here today. But good, how about you? You had such a good troll shapeshifter build, but you lost it at Vaults level 5. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Definitely such is the way. I, again, had my fair share of ups and downs here today. We started off continuing on our Deep Elf character that was high Floon spellcaster, slinging all sorts of powerful spells every which way to and fro, and things were going wonderful until I very stupidly spent a few turns taking large stones to the face, and unfortunately lost that character in a very surprising fashion. I was definitely not expecting it, and that's always interesting when those deaths take you completely by surprise. Especially since I was like a random stairwell in Depths 2. You know, Vaults 5, dying in Vaults 5, that's understandable. That's pretty much par for the course, seeing as how Vaults 5 can be a nightmare even on the best of runs. But unfortunately, just lost focus for a little bit and paid the price for it. Fortunately, I didn't have to pay the price. It was definitely just my poor elf, but it is what it is, of course. And hey, it gave us opportunity to jump back in with this character, who I probably should be piloting a little more carefully, like that Pyromancer fight. No real reason to take that, at least not in the configuration that we did, so maybe something to try and learn from. As I always tell myself I will, though rarely do I end up making any kind of actionable changes to my my game plan here. But on the other hand, I will make a bit of a change to the game plan to pick up this amulet, get an amulet of the acrobat. So that is wonderful for giving us just a little bit of additional evasion if we do ever have to run away. Again, it will take a pretty big forcing event just because frogs generally don't want to walk away. Hello, Azrael. I mean, we have Cleansing Flame at a 19% failure rate. Holy Flames will do a decent amount of work on this son of a gun, but again, I just have the 1 pip of fire resistance. Do I dare? I mean, my mind's telling me no, but here we are. So let's try this out, shall we? And yeah, we'll Cleansing Flame, at least we'll try to do so. And it does do a decent chunk of change. And we'll go for it a couple more times. Unfortunately, Azrael not taking as much damage as I originally expected from that. So I think we will actually have to start our hike away. And we'll hopefully be able to take care of these two. Fortunately, we are, so that is fantastic. And then, you know, we could head back down, try and finish off any remainder bits and bobs on the floor, or even potentially try to fight Azrael again. But there's no real strong impetus to do so. We could instead change gears here, and we could just head to Lair. With 11 AC, I'm not super confident in our ability to deal with Hydras. Which, you know, unless we're unlucky, we shouldn't really run into too many of those multi-headed sons of guns in the early parts of Lair, but it's definitely happened before, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen again. So we could instead go to Orc, I guess? Potentially. Let's check in on the Arbalest. So current attack delay is 1.1. Let's turn on ranged weapons here. Let's bring it up to the point where we can use the Arbalest, because that will be another nice little upgrade from the Orc Bow, at the very least. Get us a bit more damage going. I guess this is almost a microcosm of that Longbow versus Arbalest question, because the Orc Bow is okay for base damage at 11. I mean, a total damage rating of 24 versus 35 is a pretty big difference, I guess. So maybe we will aim to switch out to the Arbalest as soon as we're able to. But we'll see how that goes. To that end, let's head to Lair. Let's see how things are looking. A couple of Komodo dragons could definitely have very quickly escalated into a less than ideal situation. I also definitely should have stepped back onto the stairs when I had a free moment to do so, but too little too late now. So we just have to finish off the fight instead. Fortunately, we are able to do so. Can reset before dealing with our final cane toad buddy. And that is not too bad, all things considered. Start to get a few more of our consumables ID'd as well. Especially since there was another identify scroll down the other direction that Auto Explorer took us away from. I'm not in a huge rush to get it. We at least have some of our kind of main consumables already ID'd and in hand here, so that is fine. Jeremiah, I mean, was a bullfrog, but you're a frog, aren't you? We've got to stop this Barachi on Barachi violence. Tell you what. Truly an unsettling turn of events here. But unfortunately, one that is ultimately necessary, because there can only be one Lord of the Rings, and he does not share power, and all of that. But okie dokie, that is wonderful. Do I want the robe of cold resistance? Probably not, because our leather armor of cold resistance is just the same but better. If we do ever find ourselves running into the eventuality of requiring the swap from our fire resistant leather armor at the very least. And fantastic. Ooh, now an artifact robe, on the other hand, could end up being a bit of a game changer. Robe of Bad Feelings, very aptly named. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Resistance, or rather vulnerability to fire, not an attribute I'm especially fond of in my clothing wear. So we'll just leave that by the wayside for now. Let's actually do a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump, just to simplify this encounter. Honestly surprised it went as well as it did, considering the fact that I just stood in the midst of all those yaks and took the heat. But hey, if it works, it works. Maggie could mesmerize us, so I'm actually going to hop out of there sooner rather than later. There's also a volcano time door on this level, so that's something that we could potentially aim to visit. I mean, we do have the necessary fire resistance to do so. So that's generally nice. What's all the stairs? Yeah. Unfortunately, if we close off the avenues here, we are looking at kind of a dead end when it comes to safe ventures between floors, but hopefully not too bad. Amulet of Elemental Vulnerability. I've never seen this. So it provides powerful protection against mundane jabs, stabs, and bites, but it's worse than useless against fire and frost. But how often does anyone really need to worry about that? Oh, I'm sure not us, so why don't we put this on? I mean, AC +8, not bad. Resist poison, also something we desperately need. This is, technically, I'd say this makes these unwearable, the double vulnerabilities, but I don't know. Been convinced of dumber things in the past. Oh no. Maggie. You too, Maggie? I'm gonna Scroll of Summoning. We're gonna get some bodies in here to throw out the problem. No, none of this is good, unfortunately. Probably should have used a teleport scroll a hell of a lot earlier into this fight. Whoopsie daisies. For some reason I thought I had fear. I was just completely incorrect about that assumption, so that is rough. We've already used our hop. I mean, Cleansing Flame might be the next best bet to just try to deal enough damage. Yeah, 19% failure rate. It's pretty much unusable. Except when it isn't, never mind. Works easily and perfectly. Killing everything, fantastic. Before we find ourselves in this exact situation again, let's train some more invocations to bring down said failure rate to a bit more of an acceptable level. And 20 damage on the blink frogs. Exactly, Ralama. We never even for a moment didn't have it. And, in fact, let's get the heck out of there. I don't know if we'll be making it to this volcano entrance anymore, seeing as how getting hit by delays every which way. And I need to be slightly careful with our elephant friend here, just because they could have shoved us off of the stairwell if they saw fit to do so. Do you know what? I think we'll instead just take these kiddos on a little bit of a walk around the park here, take care of them in smaller group sizes, a bit more manageable to say the least.